Let's talk about the 6 sketches that make up the ANSI Standard. Now, we looked at this one before, and you remember where the laundry was not included, the area underneath the staircase is included, the bay window is included, but the firebox is not. But since we looked at that one, we're going to move on. This is page number 7 of 11, and they use the dashed lines to show you finished living area. It'd be nice if it was a different color, but you can follow these lines around and see the chimney is not included in the finished living area. Now, when we come to the front, though, there's a window seat, so that space is not going to be included in the finished space. It doesn't have a floor, it doesn't have the ceiling height. Otherwise, we're just walking around the lines, and of course this is an upper level area, and you can see, we're following, you can actually see the roof below from the lower level, but really we're just walking around exterior. And then we've got this area that says open to living area, not included, but the stairs are included. Alright, this is a really simple sketch on page 8, and it's a basement space, and when we narrow that in on that sketch there, you can see the bathroom. We go up and you see that the stairs are included in both levels. We're walking around this area, this recreation room. We're using exterior dimensions, and it's still finished space. The only parts that are not included are going to be the unfinished space. But you can see we're just walking, around that bath area, but all that space is finished. Now, in this section, it is unfinished space and not counted. All right, on sketch number 9, we got a little more here, and this kind of goes over the rules of finished living area, if you will. And you can see this one is really interesting because of the basement area, but you can see it's finished living area. We're going on the upper level. The only thing, we're not counting the attic, obviously, but we're going around the exterior dimensions, and of course we're not counting the garage. Regardless of how it's finished, we're not going to count that garage in finished living area. And then we've got this little unfinished utility room there. But that's a pretty good sketch. Now, this one is a little questionable. People always talk to me about the finished above and below grade on this one, but the sloped ceilings is also important. Now, if you follow these arrows, you can see how we're kind of going up the exterior wall, and then when we get upstairs, we're going on the interior walls. And it talks about at least half of the upper levels got to be 7-foot ceiling height, and you don't count things below 5 feet. Now, when we get to this below grade space here, you can actually see that line of grade. It's only about a foot below grade. Sometimes you got to be subjective on these measurements. But if you follow these dashed lines upstairs, you notice that it moves up the inside of the interior walls. Think about that a second now. And notice that dashed line moves along the exterior wall on the main level. So why are they different? Well, the dashed line moves up the inside wall on the upper level interior walls, and it moves outside on the exterior walls on the lower level. Is that confusing? Yeah, it brings up a couple of questions. And really, what does all that mean? It means it could be argued several different ways. And that really is a problem. But if you look at this picture, you can see your measurements should go to the 5-foot point, and then from that point you would measure that dormer on there. But the rule states finished space is measured from the 5-foot mark on any sloped ceiling with no width for the exterior wall. Guys, it really can be argued several different ways on there, but when you have sloped ceilings, There are so many different kinds of rooms with sloped ceilings, and sometimes you got 3 or 4 different kinds of sloped ceilings in one room. It's almost impossible to get consistent measurements if we try to add for the exterior walls. So for right now, just follow that simple rule and do not add for the exterior wall on rooms with sloped ceilings. Now this last sketch is really very simple, and it's just about the stairs, and just if you follow these dashed lines, you can see that this entire staircase is counted as finished living area on both levels. It's just that simple. Now to the staircase on the right, you can see you've actually got an open area kind of to the right bottom side there, so when we're measuring that, we're just counting the dimensions of the actual staircase, and we're raising that space to include it on the upper level. We're going to count all the floor, that open area, we're counting that as finished living area on the lower level. Make sure that you have a copy of ANSI and study those dashed lines that show the proper measurements for finished living area. Then if there's ever a question about any measurement, you can refer your clients to that page and sketch. Remember that you are the real estate experts, and that includes being a square footage expert.